Hey, today we're going to go over a scene from Modern Family and then we'll break things down and make sure you improve your English. So let's get to work.
Okay, I'm torn. On one hand, I'm like, oh, I have to pick up garbage all day. And on the other hand, I'm like, look at me in orange. Oh, that's cute. Send that to me.
Haley had a little run-in with the law in college.
She was arrested for assaulting a police officer
Accidentally, I fell on him.
while evading arrest for underage drinking.
That was on purpose.
They were very lenient with her. She only has to do community service.
Because I do not have any priors.
Taking a little too much pride in that, sweetheart.
The first thing I want you to pay attention is how she connects pick and up.
Okay, I'm torn. On one hand, I'm like, oh, I have to pick up garbage all day.
Since the word pick ends in a consonant sound and then the word up begins in a vowel sound, we connect these two words. But the way we connect them is by connecting the last sound in pick to the word up. So it becomes pick up. Remember that I said that pick ends in a consonant sound? Being a consonant sound is important. The spelling isn't important since we have words that end in a vowel since it's the way that the word is spelled, but it doesn't have a vowel sound. It actually ends in a consonant sound. For example, the word like. It ends with the letter E, but with a K sound. So remember that most rules in English are based on sounds, not spelling. By the way, if you prefer to study in a more structured way, one thing at a time, in the right order, you can check my course. I'll leave the link in the description so you can check it out.
And on the other hand, I'm like, look at me in orange.
So here, I want you to pay attention to this tiny word here. We have two ways to pronounce this word, and the way we pronounce it usually depends on the word that comes after it. We don't follow this rule 100% of the time, but I would say that we follow this rule most of the time. I'm not sure if you remember, but she didn't say the other hand. She said the other hand. And that happens because the word other begins in a vowel sound. So we usually pronounce the as the. And the reason we do this is because if we try to connect the with the vowel sound, we need to make a glottal stop. So it's easier to connect them by saying the since we don't have to stop the sound. We can just say the other, the end, the edge. But sometimes people still pronounce it as the and use a glottal stop. It's not wrong to do that. It's just more common and easier to follow the rule. So just to make sure you got it, if we have the and the next word begins in a vowel sound, it's more common to say the. For example, the end. If we have the and the next word begins in a consonant sound, we usually pronounce it as the. For example, the car.
Oh, that's cute. Send that to me.
So here, I would like to talk about these two words. And there's something interesting here. Notice that we have the word that, which ends with T. And we have to, which begins with T. A lot of times, when we have two words and one ends with the same letter that the next one begins, we can eliminate the first sound and connect these two words. And because we have so many different accents here, you'll notice that some people do it more and some do it less. And sometimes this applies to the last two letters. For example, just stay. Just ends with ST and stay begins with ST. So you don't have to, but you can eliminate ST from just and say ja and connect with stay. Just stay. Just stay here a little bit longer.
Haley had a little run-in with the law in college.
Well, to have a run-in with the law means having an unpleasant encounter, argument, or getting into trouble with the cops or legal authorities. This is usually when you break a rule or law, and it can go from a minor conflict to getting arrested. For example, it could be getting a speeding ticket or being questioned by the cops or even getting arrested.
Accidentally, I fell on him.
Well,
Did you hear how she connected these two words, fell and on? This is another very common thing we do. And remember that the same thing I said about that and to applies here. Some people will make this connection clearer, and some people not so much. But when we have a word that ends with a dark L sound, in this case, fell, and the next word begins with a vowel sound, we usually pronounce the dark L and then we use a light L to connect these two words. That's why she said fell on him. She pronounced the dark L and fell, and then she used a light L to connect fell and on, fell on. Remember that a dark L is the one that we usually see at the end of words or before consonant sounds. For example, tell, call, will. And a light L is the one we usually see at the beginning of words and before vowel sounds. For example, like, live. And sometimes we have both sounds in the same word. For example, label.
while evading arrest for underage drinking.
That was on purpose.
Well, evading arrest means intentionally running away or hiding from a law enforcement officer who's trying to arrest or detain you. You could be trying to flee the scene on foot or in a vehicle after the officer has given you a clear command to stop. Remember that evading arrest is different than resisting arrest. Resisting arrest usually means that you used force or physical obstruction to prevent an officer from taking you into custody.
Because I do not have any priors.
Did you notice here how she connected because and I? We usually use that same rule I showed you earlier, since because ends in a Z sound and we connect it to I. So we say because I. And actually sometimes we don't even say be, we just say 'cause I. 'Cause I was here, 'cause I don't care. Now when she says she doesn't have any priors, she means that she has no previous criminal record, such as prior arrests or convictions. To have any priors is most commonly used in a legal and law enforcement context to mean that a person has no previous criminal record. Well, if you have any movies or TV shows you want me to break down, let me know in the comments. Thank you and see you in the next video.